Welcome to the Home Assistant Podcast, episode number 9. And joining me today is Ryan and Dale. Hey, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. Dale, nice to have you on. We've been kind of trying to get you on for a while, and finally the stars have aligned and you're actually here.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be here. I've been looking forward to doing this for a while now.
So we're going to start by talking to you and kind of give the community a bit of an intro to you and your involvement and things like that.
Okay.
How about you? Kind of tell us about both your home assistant kind of or home automation story and what you do with the community.
Well, my home automation story goes back all the way to my childhood. I grew up. My dad was automating our house forever since I can remember, using X10, old protocols. I still think he uses X10 a little bit in his system. When I was 13, I started writing plugins for HomeSeer. Got hired by HomeSeer to do a couple of things. My dad needed a few things, so I, took the challenge and made it happen. And then got out of home automation for a while, and then picked up a SmartThings hub. And I was like, hey, this is going to be fun. I want to get into this now that I have a house, and I don't have to worry about anything else. And SmartThings wasn't very good. I started researching to see how I could integrate more things into it. Came across Home Assistant, and I was going to use Home Assistant as a bridge to fill the gap between things I wanted and things that SmartThings didn't have. Then I quickly learned that Home Assistant was way more powerful than SmartThings in every manner. So I switched roles and I used SmartThings as a bridge, and Home Assistant as my primary. I tend to obsess over things whenever I get involved with them. So I took a huge leap into the community, and I now found myself as the community leader, which is amazing. I am very happy to be here to enjoy everything that we have.
Amazing. That's very cool. And it's cool how you kind of got involved and just, I guess, eventually became one of the community heads, right? So,
well, like I said, I love to obsess over things when I love them. One of those things was flying, RC quadcopters, airplanes, helicopters. I was doing that for 10 years and I obsessed over it and got everything. I still have a garage full of stuff that I haven't flown in 2 years. So
very cool.
Yeah, home automation is definitely one of those things that's very easy to get addicted to.
Yeah.
I've been using the desk in my studio as kind of a workspace as well, and I'm just surrounded by Node MCUs and cables and RFID readers and all sorts of interesting things.
Soldering irons, yeah.
Yep, there is definitely a soldering iron here.
My dining room table is covered with Digistump Oaks, soldering irons. I've got Wi-Fi plugs that I've modified. I've got everything on my dining room table. It's a mess, but it's my workspace, and there's always a method to my madness, as they would say.
Hey, you know what? That's the only way to get creative, right?
I don't disagree with that. That's for sure.
That's funny. So, how long have you been kind of directly involved with Home Assistant in this capacity?
As a community leader, it's only been a couple of months. It was right around the time that we made the switch to Discord. We were talking about it, and I took the initiative of pushing forward, and Paulus granted me the access to do what I wanted with the community, and that the first move was to switch to Discord because Gitter didn't have what we needed. Everything was so convoluted that it wasn't a good solution for what we needed. And while Discord is not perfect either, I felt that it was the best after Paulus and I and the other members of the team went through and evaluated different chat platforms. I feel like Discord has everything we need.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a problem at the moment with there being so many different chat platforms. There's Slack and Discord and Gitter and all sorts. I pretty much use Discord and Slack, so I was quite pleased to see that we moved away from Gitter. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 servers down the side of my Discord.
Wow.
I've only got 2, Home Lab and Home Assistant.
I've got Home Lab as well. Seems to be a pretty common trend at the moment, isn't it? Is that there's just too many of everything, whether that's home automation or chats or, social networks. There's just too many of everything.
I mean, it does apply to everything. I started my own business back in 2011, selling electronic cigarettes. My greatest passion in life is to help people. So, a friend of mine gave me an electronic cigarette, and I tried it, and then I accidentally quit smoking within 10 days. And I was like, if this can help me, because I wanted to smoke. I loved smoking. I never wanted to quit. And if I can accidentally quit, then I can help other people quit too. So I started a company based on it. And it's still running to this day, and I'm still helping people, and I always try to find new ways to help people. And Home Assistant community provides that for me. I love being in chat. I love giving answers to people's questions. I want to be there to help them out when they're having trouble. It's what fulfills me.
Love it. That's awesome. Nice. And I mean, that's a great quality to have for a community leader. So
yeah,
especially in an open source platform as well. So that's very cool, and kind of glad that somebody like yourself is leading it. So.
Well, I'm happy to be here. This is actually the first open source project I've involved myself with. It's a lot of fun. I've always been for open source. I don't like closed source because it restricts potential that a project may have. And I feel that that's why Home Assistant is the most powerful, Home Assistant platform or home automation platform, because it's open source, and we have new versions every 2 weeks. And often those versions have 10, 20, 30 more features than the previous version. And I've never seen a project that grows as fast as Home Assistant has. In the past 2.5 years that I've been using it, it's gone from 0 to infinity. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's almost to the point where you don't have enough time to implement all the components that apply to you.
I have that problem too. I often test out components for other people, and it allows me to expand my knowledge and allows me to get a better understanding of the underlying platform and how it works. And so I don't have a lot of time to do things for my setup, but I'm always willing to do something for someone else's.
That's awesome. Perfect. So I can, what you're saying is I can stage my entire house in your place.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
That's funny. So in terms of one of the things we wanted to talk about as well is kind of just how you use it on a kind of on a related basis, is how you use it with kind of hacky workarounds and things like that. What are some of the cool things that you're doing?
It's funny that you mentioned, the whole hacky workaround thing, because that's what I do. I find ways to make things work with what we have. So, I've created different drop-in packages like persistence that's based on MQTT. You just take this package file, make sure you have packages enabled, and then you just drop it into your package directory, and then you use your customize section to tell it to be persistent. And that's all you have to do. And then, all of this was before we had persistence inside of Home Assistant. And if you're using an external database for your recorder, we still have some issues there too. So I still rely on the persistence package, even though we have persistent states in Home Assistant. Some other things I've done for workarounds is like my light control package. I wasn't happy with using 2 or more automations for turning a light on and off based on a motion sensor. So I created, a script called light control that would basically call other scripts based on the parameters you pass to it. So if because you can't send a brightness to light.turn off, but you can send it to light.turn on. And you can't conditionally send different configuration variables to different services in the same automation. So the workaround was to create the script, check to see if, let's say, the brightness was there. If brightness is there, then pass that along to the script. If transition's there, then you have to call a completely different script that passes the transition. It's so complex, and I barely even understand it myself, but I always start with my goal, and then I work around that to get there. Most of what I do is extremely complicated, and most people don't understand it. That's because I looked at the underlying features of things, and I try to, for lack of better terms, exploit those features.
So let me ask you this, Dale. So how can somebody that's doing this kind of stuff similar to you, how can they kind of give back to the community?
Right now, our weakest link is our documentation. That's something that has been hurting us since the beginning. And now that we have so many users coming in and trying Home Assistant for the first time, your software is only as strong as your documentation is. And if we don't have a good documentation, people are going to get flustered, and somebody's not always. We try to have somebody in chat at all times, but somebody's not always there to answer questions, and those that are there may not know the answer to the questions. So documentation is so important. And if there was one thing that anybody could do right now, it would be help with our documentation. If you understand the platform and how it works, and you feel comfortable, explaining how it works to other people, that's how we could help. And there's the hackathon that's going on right now, or no, Hacktoberfest. Yes. So Hacktoberfest starts 2 days, and Home Assistant is going to be involved again this year, and we're really excited. Yeah, about
super cool. I just saw the announcement on Discord.
So you can help with our documentation and get a free T-shirt.
There you go.
For more details on the Hacktoberfest, we do have a blog post. I'm not sure if it's already up or not, but we do have a blog post okay, awesome. So go check out that blog post to learn more about the Hacktoberfest and see how you can help out and earn free stuff.
That's fantastic. And I guess we'll try and put that in the show notes as well.
Free stuff's always good, if I remember. Sure. I'm actually going to edit right now. Yeah, Dale, I just have to thank you for your persistence module. It saved my bacon.
Yes.
Specifically with Limitless LED.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. That's one of the reasons that I created it, actually. I didn't like Home Assistant restarting and not knowing, whether my Limitless LED was on or not. I started with Limitless LED as my first, smart lighting platform. It's good. It's cheap. Get you started. It was back then, but now there's so many smart lighting platforms that there's no reason to spend a few dollars less on Limitless LED when you can, get Philips Hue for just a couple dollars more, and it's so reliable. And I don't know. I still use Limitless though.
Yeah, I've gone pretty much Hue. Yeah. Well, I bought like 30 Limitless bulbs, so I kind of couldn't bring myself to get rid of all of them, but they're all in a whole bunch of them are in my studio now. And the GU10 bulbs for Hue are very expensive, so those are still Limitless.
The GU10, which one is that?
They're the little ones with the contacts kind of stick out in the round here.
Yeah, okay. They're kind of the 2 pins. Yeah.
Have you tried the IKEA Trad-Free? I think they have the GU10.
Yeah, okay.
They do, yeah. I've been wanting to try it actually for my of all things above my stove for my exhaust hood. So, but so they do have those.
Yeah, it looks like they're $20 US.
There you go.
I don't know how expensive the Hue is, but
yeah, it's about that. Well, the GU10s are like 90 New Zealand, which is like 65 US or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm so disappointed I didn't get to go to New Zealand when I was visiting Australia. I get homesick pretty quickly, so they cut the vacation from 3 weeks to 2 weeks and took out New Zealand. And I got there and I didn't want to leave. Australia is amazing. I wish I was able to go to New Zealand too.
Yeah, it's a good place to be, but we don't have Amazon overnight shipping.
I don't know if I can survive.
Makes home automation harder.
Yeah, these are decisions that factor into everyday. Would I live here or would I not? Right?
Yeah. Can I order anything under the sun overnight from Amazon?
Well, I mean, I can get a lot of things within 2 hours where I live.
That's very cool.
Wow.
It's crazy. I don't know how they do it, but they've managed to do it, and they've taken the number one spot for the largest retailer.
Yeah.
Good job, Amazon.
I know, it's crazy. So let's just to kind of change gears a little bit, kind of, but not really. What are some of your favorite home automation technologies? This is me being curious more than anything else. Some stuff that you probably couldn't live without, but couldn't live without.
Well, if you asked me, 17 years ago, I'd say X10.
Yeah.
X10 and, RS-232 serial. But nowadays, it's got to be, I would probably have to say I prefer Wi-Fi because I like to reverse engineer things. Mm-hmm. So if I have something that's Wi-Fi, I can reverse engineer it. I can, use Charles proxy to sniff the payloads and whatnot. And that's what I did for my Aladdin Connect garage door controller. It runs on Wi-Fi, and I was able to write a Node.js script that controls it, and then via MQTT, and now I can control it with Home Assistant. But Wi-Fi probably first, or Z-Wave after that, Bluetooth, and then Zigbee. I'm not a huge fan of Zigbee. because it's difficult and we don't have like a tried and true solution for Home Assistant yet. So that's really the setback. And I have so many Zigbee hubs in my house. Like I've got the Xiaomi, I've got the IKEA Trad-free, Philips Hue, I've got the HZ-USB one or HUSB ZB1.
Yeah,
there's just so many things.
Yeah, it's I'm finding I have the same problem too, where I've just got collections of hubs and everything is kind of plugging into my Switch.
And Zigbee's 2.4 as well, isn't it?
Speaking of Zigbee, I hate to drastically change gears here, but the new Amazon Echo Plus, I was disappointed that it didn't have Z-Wave, but I still have suspicion that there might be a Z-Wave radio buried in there somewhere for future use. But it has Zigbee, so I've pre-ordered my Echo Plus. I'm really looking forward to seeing how many devices it works with without needing the extra hubs. Is it going to work with my Trad-free? Is it going to work with my Xiaomi? Is it going to work with Philips Hue? Is it going to allow me to talk to it just like I would a Philips Hue bridge? Like I can't wait until October 31st when I get this product so that I can sit down and just spend 15 hours playing with it. Like, I get so excited about new stuff, and I just
that wait for new toys though, especially a whole month.
Yeah, it's
painful.
It's the
anticipation.
I remember back when I was like funding a lot of things on Kickstarter, and the wait was just it's killer.
Yeah, and then also finding out whether it got funded or not too, right? Just that itself.
Yeah, and then if they're just gonna take the money and run, which has happened a few times, or if they're gonna come through with a solid product.
Yeah.
Dale, anything else you want to say to the community or anything like that before we move on and talk about the latest release?
All I can say is that I appreciate everyone comes in, asks questions, and wants to learn, because we've all started somewhere. Like I 2.5 years ago, I started from exactly where people are starting today, except that it's so much more complex today. So I appreciate that people take the time, learn things, and then start helping other people. Like that makes me so happy that I can see, people that I've helped start helping other people. Like it's just, there's such a sense of accomplishment in that. And I just want to say thank you to all those guys. Like it's amazing. And I appreciate what everyone does for this.
Yeah, it's huge. Dan and I kind of talk about it every week, just in terms of how big the community is and how crazy, like, just everybody helping everybody is too, right? And that's what this is all about at the end of the day, at least for us, right?
That's what it is for me.
So Dan's having technical difficulties, so Dale and myself are gonna kind of finish off the show with just talking about what's coming up in 0.4. I guess what's already come out in 0.54.
Yeah, we released 0.54 almost a week ago now, I believe, and there's plenty of new features.
Yeah, so Abode lights and cameras looks like one of them, which is pretty cool. I don't have any, but I do know that that's pretty popular in the community as well.
I saw that, and then someone had asked me the other day for my advice on alarm, which alarm should they go with, and I started looking over different things, and I was like, wow, Abode is heavily integrated into Home Assistant now. Like that sounds like a perfect solution, but he wanted to go with wired stuff, so I was like, all right, so Invisalink it is.
It's interesting. I'm actually looking at a couple as well, so it's I'll probably ping you offline and we can chat after. But there's a couple of other ones too that I actually hadn't heard of. Doorbird as one of them.
I'm never heard of it. I have no idea what it is.
It's there.
That's
there. Right. Just quickly googling this. It's it looks like it's like a ring.
A doorbell, kind of like a ring. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I would get. Looking at it, that's what I would presume that it is.
Yeah, and
one thing that a lot of people are excited about is the MQTT state stream.
Yes.
That's something that my persistence package kind of helped out with, but now it's built in, and all the states can be published as one. To each different topic. That's super exciting.
For that matter, leverage the state stream. How can a new user for that?
It really depends on what you're looking at. So the state stream would be useful for things like if you wanted to, let's say you have a magic mirror and you wanted to show different things on that magic mirror, but you didn't want to directly integrate with the API. So you could just set up an MQTT subscription, and anytime it changes, it'll say motion in the kitchen on your magic mirror or something.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things it could be used for. It could be used to talk to other home automation platforms. It could be used to push information to another. I wouldn't recommend it for pushing to another Home Assistant instance, but it could be.
Yeah.
For some reason, the persistence I could rewrite to use the state stream. As far as a new user, I don't know what would be an ideal use case. MQTT itself is scary to newcomers. Like, I was so scared of MQTT at first.
Yeah, same.
But once you understand it, and once you just read like one paragraph about it, you're like, all right, so it's pretty much just key value pairs. That's it.
Yeah, it's you know what, I always used the analogy of it's a chat client for devices.
I could see that. Yeah, that's a really good analogy.
Right? Yeah, and it was interesting. So somebody asked me, it's like, hey, can you give me a deep dive into MQTT? And I was like, okay, I don't really know it at like a protocol level or anything. And so I'm reading up on it, and I'm like, this is a lot simpler than I thought it was. which is actually why I love MQTT, right? It's
exactly.
It's very simple. It's very efficient. So that makes a difference as well. So I have a blog post on exactly how MQTT, kind of like what the different pieces are in there.
So one thing I would like to say about MQTT, how lightweight it is.
Mm-hmm.
Most transactions are less than 100 bytes.
Yeah.
So, like I'll often see 84, 86 bytes per, I don't think transaction is the right word, but per request or...
Yeah, per changer.
But yeah, so it's so lightweight and it's incredible.
Yeah.
MQTT would run solid on 56K dial-up.
Yes.
That's how small it is. That's how lightweight it is.
And for those that aren't using it, I mean, give it a shot. And like you said, Dale, and I had the same problem, is initially it's a little scary to use, I guess, or overwhelming. I don't know what it is, but it's really not that bad, I promise you.
And the tools we have today, it make it so easy to set up. If you're still running Raspbian Jessie, I've got a Mosquito install script that does it all for you, and it'll prompt you to ask for your username and your password. Then at the end, it'll tell you, oh, here's the stuff you need to put into the Home Assistant configuration to connect, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a neat thing too, right?
If I can tell anybody that's new to MQTT one thing, secure your installation. There are so many.
Yes.
I think you guys talked about it on the last episode, Shodan. There's so many brokers out there that are exposed without authentication. Even a simple, username and password. Just disable anonymous connections. Secure your broker, please. That is one of the most important things.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I mean, and this has kind of been one of this can actually be a possible podcast topic of security in home automation, right? Where you got to realize a lot of these things are somehow connected back into the internet, right? It's not like an exclusively closed loop. That's a whole other podcast.
I would love to be a part of that one.
Definitely, we'll let you know.
On the topic of MQTT, we also got the MQTT vacuum.
Yes.
That's new in 54.
That's really cool. So let me ask you this. What platforms actually leverage that? Are there any built-in platforms, or are these kind of like DIY?
Most stuff that's MQTT, to my knowledge, is DIY. And it honestly makes for the best DIY platform.
Agreed.
I wish I would have known about MQTT sooner. Like, I hate that I was so scared of it at first, and I don't know. But yeah, I don't know of any consumer products that leverage MQTT right now, especially as far as the vacuum goes.
Yeah.
It looks like you can retrofit a non-Wi-Fi Roomba with an ESP8266 and turn it into an MQTT vacuum. So there you go.
I need to look this up.
Yeah, if you go to the component page on the docs, it shows the ESP Roomba MQTT. It has a link to it right there at the very bottom of the page.
Amazing. I will be doing it.
That's exciting.
You know what's funny? It's this morning when I turned on my Roomba, I was like, man, I really wish I kind of got the 900 series. And I was like, I'm also glad I didn't, just to save the money. And then I'm like, because I know there was a couple of projects that brought Wi-Fi to the Roomba, but now it's a lot of those have either gone away or no longer developed, or they're just not available on the 800 platform, which is what I have. So that's very cool. So whoever built that in advance. Thank you.
It looks like this is fresh off the press. It was 23 days ago. It looks like it was initially committed to GitHub. So if you have a Roomba that doesn't have Wi-Fi, check this out.
Yeah.
And then use
there we go.
the new MQTT vacuum platform.
It's funny because I just happen to have an 8266 sitting, kicking around, doing nothing. So,
well, there you go.
There we go.
Sounds like I know what you're doing.
I can pretend. Now, on that kind of similar note, works Landroid also. So it's a robot lawnmower that we now support on Home Assistant as well.
I wasn't sure what that was, so I just pulled up the page, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
There was talk about, putting somebody wanted to integrate a lawnmower into Home Assistant and write a component for it, or I guess a platform, and they were trying to figure out, where they should put it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were going to put it in the vacuum for now, because it had all the same stuff as a vacuum. It deploys itself, it goes and does its job, and comes back. So it's great to actually see a mower platform here now. It looks like it's only a sensor, but I can guarantee that soon we're going to be getting some good lawnmower stuff going.
Yeah, I hope so. That'd be kind of cool. Another big one is, as a user of it as well, is Todoist. So that's pretty cool.
I've never used it, but I see it everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that it's part of Home Assistant now.
Yeah. So big shout out to everybody that helped develop all of those. And there's also the Satel alarms as well.
And then the Telnet switch. There's been some controversy around the Telnet switch because it doesn't support authentication. But looking over it, I couldn't figure out how it would, because there's so many different ways to authenticate when you connect to a Telnet server.
Yeah.
There's already a lot of people leveraging the Telnet switch. I was really surprised. Like the moment it dropped, people were like, "Oh, Telnet switch! I'm going to use that," because we have things that we've been using shell commands for to do that stuff, and now it's built in.
Boom! There you go.
So what is this Kinetic Indie MS2 router? Looks like it's another device tracker.
Yeah, I guess it's using that to use presence to check whether it's persons on the network or off the network, right?
Yeah. I've never heard of Kinetic, but Home Assistant supports it now.
There we go. You're welcome.
I feel like there's one other major change in M54. Let me look over this real quick.
I think that was it. Yeah, just the Satel stuff to integrate into with that hub, that platform.
Some other minor features. We get basic authentication on RESTful switches. One of the major breaking changes is the Xiaomi platform has changed to Xiaomi Akara.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're having issues with Xiaomi, check out the docs. It's been renamed. It's now Xiaomi Akara. If you have 53, it's still Xiaomi. We had an issue with that the other day. And in my installation, I saw that I still had both. Like I had the old Xiaomi component and it was missing a few things. And then I had the new Xiaomi Akara and it still worked, but it was a breaking change. So I was really confused. But it sounded like the Pi wheel had an old cached version of the Xiaomi platform. So in 55, we can expect that to disappear and the old Xiaomi will no longer work. You'll have to switch to Xiaomi Akara.
Okay. Well, there you go. So if you have that, please change. All right.
I think that about wraps it up for features.
And I think that about wraps it up pretty much for this episode as well. So, I mean, Dale, thank you so much for joining. This was fantastic.
Absolutely. I am so thankful that I could make it today.
Appreciate it. And I know you got to run. So I'll let you get out of here. And then I guess we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Thank you.